Welcome to ForeverFit.tv, your online source for fitness, nutrition and lifestyle.
Hey Maz, how you doing?
Kia ora, very good, thank you. And you?
I'm pretty good. What's been happening over in Hamilton today?
In Hamilton, well, finally there's blue skies and a little bit of sunshine out there because it has been a lot of raining.
Yeah.
But it, means you can be productive indoors.
Exactly. I should introduce ourselves really, shouldn't I? It's Nicola here. We're bringing you episode number 3 of the Forever Fit podcast, and we are going to be talking all about hydration and the importance it has on our body. So Maz, start us off. What is your thoughts on why would we be talking about hydration?
Really, it probably is the most critical thing. I'd probably just about put it ahead of your nutrition. I guess if you kind of look at those things that you can go 28 days or something without food, but you can't go very long without water. So it is the most vital ingredient, I guess, in the whole picture, in the whole scheme of things. But often one of the ingredients that's not ignored, but not much attention necessarily given to it or thought given to it as we go on our little journey through life. Yeah.
And I mean, hydration, water is something that it can be the make or break of your day as well, can't it? If you don't get water into your day, it can affect your afternoon, it can affect your thoughts, it can affect your exercise, everything. It's just such a critical part of being healthy and happy and vibrant.
Because how do you feel? Do you notice, when you aren't in your optimum, I guess?
Totally. First thing, every single morning I'll make sure that I'll drink a couple of glasses of water as soon as I wake up, and in that water I'll always have my lemon in there, but we'll go into why that's so important. But if I don't have that, I just find that I just feel really flat throughout the day, and I find it quite a struggle to even, the thought of exercise. My body, it's almost like it's just running half past. It's just not really wanting to move or anything. But as soon as you realise that that is a sign of being dehydrated, you're able to put the water in there, and then you're kind of getting on track for your day, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, my thoughts exactly, and my feelings as well. Definitely start the day off with water, and again usually has lemon in there, which we'll touch base on. But I notice a huge difference, and even it's 10 times more important when you're pregnant as well. As soon as I know that I haven't got enough water on board, that's when we've got someone else who's come to join the party. That's when the feelings of morning sickness and all of those things come into play, and just the illness just seems to be so much worse. I
guess now's a good time to talk about the reason so many people talk about hydration. The reason we're talking about it is, we'll get more technical now, is that basically every single cell's reaction in your body is hydration dependent. So without it, it's going to be affecting not only your physical body, your mental body, your emotions. So all those little cell reactions that are taking place, the moment you're dehydrated, those reactions are going to slow down. You're going to feel it in your moods. You're going to feel it in your movement, and you're going to feel it through just the way that you feel, like in terms of falling asleep in the afternoon, or you might feel it like in a way that like your legs feel really heavy, like that feeling of I particularly talk about this a lot in RPM, that dead leg feeling, like you hop on a bike and you're just like, oh, my feet are just not going to turn these pedals today. Or like when you go running, just getting your legs moving, that really heavy leg feeling, quite often that is a big sign of dehydration. And so if you've got the water earlier on in your day, you're less likely to have that feeling.
Yeah. And that just made me think back to a study that I was involved with in Dunedin. I was a lab rat in, and it was in the heat chamber, so I think we were cycling at about 32 or 34 degrees and about 80% humidity, and they put one of the tests, they put us into a dehydrated state before we started. So 2 hours before we started, they manipulated our physiology with regards to water. And I went from lasting about 26 or 28 minutes on a bike to lasting about 5 minutes on a bike.
Right.
Yeah, it led exactly that dead leg feeling, and I was like trying my hardest but just couldn't make anything happen. It just goes to show that whilst that was all for a study, there's lots of people who are rocking around every day actually feeling like that, and not even realising that it's due to one of the most simplest reasons.
I mean, and that's why it's so important to have the water in there first thing in the morning, because your body's had 8 hours of fixing and repairing itself, sleeping. And so having that water is kind of like your top up of your battery. Think of your body as that rechargeable battery. It's kind of that opportunity to put that fuel into it, replace anything that you may have lost overnight, and set yourself up perfect for the day.
Yeah.
And it's particularly important if you're getting your exercise in the morning as well. Like if you are heading off to an early morning class, or you head off to work and then you might have breakfast, it's just, water is just something that you should have right beside your bed. And before you even get out of bed, like sometimes even just getting out of bed can be a struggle. You're thinking, oh, just don't want to do this today. And so having that moment where you get out of bed and, oh, Panasonic's come up on the screen. I don't know how to fix that.
You're looking a little different than you were earlier.
Oh, I don't know how to fix that. Hang on.
She's run away, but we're still here. We're still rocking.
I just had a wee spares. I don't know quite what it did then, but
clearly the camera's not had enough water today. So
yeah, maybe.
It's matrix.
Yeah. So in terms of the amount of water that somebody should be having, they say it's 0.33 times your body weight.
Yep.
So in kgs, so a 100 kg man would have 3.33 litres. That's the kind of water that they should be drinking in a day. So just knowing that figure is something that you can work out, okay, how am I going to get that amount of water into my day? And the thought of probably drinking 2.5 litres in one go is enough to make you not want to do it. So that's where it comes down to, making water part of your routine and starting to form those healthy habits.
Yeah.
And so some little tricks. Have you got little tricks that you do to make it nice and easy?
Well, definitely, as we've both talked about, starting the day with water. And, I know a lot of people who it's even before their feet hit the ground. So their bottle's ready beside their bed. So when they get up in the morning, they literally roll over, they consume that water, then their feet hit the ground, then the day kind of begins. It's sort of like the thoughts thing we talked about last week, is you're really setting it up right from the very beginning. And then it is about routine. So I've tried different things with different people and with myself. So some of them it works for them. They have, like at work, they'll actually have a bottle that's already ready to go, and that's their morning bottle. And so they know by lunchtime they've got to get through that one. And then in the afternoon they've got to get through that one. Yeah. Other people, it's every hour they have a pop-up come up on their calendar if they're sort of computer desk-based people, and they go for a trip to the water cooler because that A gets them out of their seat and away from their computer screen, so there's a double plus, and B, it's just they can do some mindful meditation on the way to the water cooler, have a socialization trip on the way there and the way back, but so that works for a lot of people. But it is just establishing those routines. If you're going to a cafe for work or a pleasure or whatever, that it's always stock standard that you're going to get glasses of water with it. It's not something that is an afterthought, and just slowly building it in like that. But it's definitely trying to space it throughout the day. And the other thing that I sort of come back to is that your body can only process about a litre an hour. So it's called gastric emptying, but that's how long it sort of takes to process. So too much more than that is that feeling where it does sit in your gut because your body's struggling to deal with it. So it's spacing it out like a 250 ml or 200 ml glass each hour does work quite nicely.
Yeah, I guess that comes the same with food, it's fueling your body for what it needs right now. So if you've just spent 8 hours asleep and your body's had no water for 8 hours, well then it absolutely makes sense that the first thing you should be doing before you have food, before you do anything else, it should be the water that goes inside your body. And then you have your breakfast, and then you're doing things, and then, okay, you've used up some of that water, so let's replace it again. So it's about being smart and looking at the bigger picture, isn't it? It's like just understanding, look, my body's done some work now, so let's rehydrate it.
Yeah. And I remember training particularly ladies, and they'd jump out of bed in the morning and jump in the shower, and then they'd say they'd always felt a bit yucky in the shower and stuff, but the water content has such a big effect on your blood pressure as well, so they were having issues with their blood pressure, and it was all just related to hydration, and so they'd jump in the shower and feel like they were gonna
definitely
so having that as your first step can definitely help that rest of the day's comings and goings.
So I guess we should talk about the types of water that we should be drinking from that. The quality of water is a very important factor. Like, you can't just say just go drink. Hydration, we're talking about good, clean water here. We're not talking about having some Coke as soon as you wake up in the morning and some Fanta for lunch. We're talking about really good, clean, quality water. Yeah. And I mean, if we start at the reason we'd want to have filtered water and not tap water, for me, I know that tap water is full of the chlorine, and chlorine has been put in there to kill any bad stuff, but the chlorine is actually really bad for the good bacteria in your tummy. And so if you're constantly putting chlorine in there and killing the good bacteria in your tummy, well then you're going to have all sorts of things that are going to lead to digestive issues and everything else. So that's why I believe filtered water is a really important thing. Yeah. And if you can avoid the tap water, as much as possible.
Then there's where councils, and depending where you live, put fluoride in water as well, and so there's a whole lot of debate around fluoride and things like that. So there are some things in your regular old tap water that you do want to leave out of your body, really.
Yeah. So and the reason you want to be having that clean water is, again, to be making sure that you know exactly what's going into your body, because you don't know what's in the tap water. You don't know where it's come from. It might come out of your tap, but you don't know what's where everything else is. So the good thing is, if you can get good quality filtered water, at least you're not getting any chemicals or anything else into your body that you don't know about.
Yeah. And not all filters are created equal, are they?
No. Yeah.
So it is important to do a little bit of research in that regard, and just be aware of what your filter is filtering in and out, so that you've got a bit of control there. But yeah, that's
a whole nother.
It is a whole
nother story.
Right.
And I guess the other thing as well that's talked about a lot in the health industry is by adding a little bit of sea salt or rock salt into your water. And the reason that's so important is because, say we're doing the filtering process and we've cleared out the water and we've stripped it of everything that we don't want, what that water there is actually naked water. And so we want to make sure that when we're drinking water, we're replacing our body full of minerals and the things that it needs. So by adding that little bit of pinch of sea salt, it's actually adding the minerals back in. So it would be as if you were to have a beautiful spring outside your house that was pumping water out from the earth, and all those minerals that were coming out from that water. Yeah. I live in Golden Bay, which has got Poo Springs, which is the perfect kind of spring water pumping out all the minerals of the earth. And so if I had that near my house, that would be ideal, and I could be having a glass of Poo spring water.
Yeah.
But since I don't live there anymore, that's where the little pinch of sea salt.
In New Zealand, isn't there, where there's good, like your natural source of water that comes through your tap is actually really excellent. But unfortunately, many of us around the world and within New Zealand don't have those luxuries. So is that the same kind of thing with, I guess, with bottled water as well? Is all bottled water is not created equal?
Totally. Yeah, like you can look on the back of a water bottle, and it says the total amount of dissolved solids. And the best one that I know of is the Evian.
Yeah.
Evian, it's got the most amount of dissolved solids. I think it's around 300 or something. And so and it comes in a glass bottle, and it's really good quality water. But as you go down to obviously Evian's a very expensive water, and it's not something that you're going to wake up and drink away every day. But as you go down the ranks, if you look on the back of it, you can see the total dissolved solids, and you'll see that the cheaper the water bottle and the cheaper the water, the less dissolved solids there are available, and some of them have none.
And my friend Panasonic's come back. What's he up to today? And that's sort of like the distilled water that we were talking about before in terms of filtered water at home. Distilled bottled water is pretty much naked water, so it's had all the minerals and vitamins, or the minerals particularly, taken out of it. So that's distilled water is not your best choice if you're having to go for a bottled water. You're definitely much better off along your Evian type waters and just looking at the other bottled waters with looking at that dissolved solids, which is, I mean, in New Zealand it's compulsory to have that information on. That nutritional information on there, so most of the waters, or all of the water here has got it on, but in different places it might not necessarily. So which I guess from once you start talking about bottled water and dissolved solids, and what about sports water?
Oh. Yeah, well, I heard from a very wise friend of mine that isn't it don't dentists believe that sports people have the worst teeth, and that they get, like, it's not the children or the unhealthy kids, it's the athletes or the people that believe they're the sports person.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're the ones that are turning up with the bad teeth.
yeah. So a couple of athletes that I've worked with who have been like sponsored by different companies have within of the time of getting that sponsorship within sort of 18 months, 2 years have ended up with quite severe cavities, and there could be other things going on, but one particular incident, the dentist definitely said like the inside of the cavities was coated with like the red dye out of the sports drink.
Ooh.
Excuse me. So it's whilst there is a small place for some people to use those beverages, I guess the big issue is that we've got people who are just chomping back on them every day as a replacement for normal water, and not realising the impact that that can be having.
Yeah. I guess, and the thing as well is, I mean, people are, like you said, they're drinking them as normal water because they're seeing on the adverts, the big companies saying that they should be drinking this to be like this person. And so if they actually think about the reason these drinks have been created is as sports drinks, and so if you're going to drink the sports drink, do some sports, that deserves you to drink that drink.
Yeah. And when you look at their websites and their defence, you know, like they have, it says when you're pushing your bodies to the maximum and, you know, you're on your outer limits of endurance and intensity and things like that. So really they're talking about exercise that is well in excess of 60 minutes and where you're really cranking it out at your max. And even then, though, you know, there's some definite concentration issues in terms of the carbohydrate. It is pure sugar. That, you know, they've got 15 grams of carbohydrate per 100 mils type thing, and it's 15 grams of sugars. So you'd be wanting to dilute it if you were using it over and above that 60, 90 minute threshold. And really the two main sort of minerals they're delivering are sodium and potassium.
Yeah.
So sodium we've added by putting in our pinch of organic sea salt. Yeah. Potassium, might munch on a banana. No. I mashed my banana into my water.
Yeah.
But the and you know, and on occasion when you are exercising in excess of that time and you can't get solid food on board, then you do need it. But the average Joe blogs, definitely it shouldn't be a replacement for water in any way, shape or form, to be fair.
No, totally agree with that, Muz. Like it's about understanding what these sports drinks have been created for and understanding what you need. And if you are exercising to the extreme that they are advertising and the extreme that these sports drinks are being designed for, then by all means have one every now and then. But I'm sure that, Muz, I mean, what would you, in terms of replacing a sports drink, like you said, we've got the pinch of sea salt into the water, and a banana is an absolutely perfect example of something to have midway through a workout, or even if you're doing something, if you're only working out for less than an hour, then, which most of us are, then you don't need anything. No. But if you are going to be working out, say for somebody who's training for a sports event and they're training over an hour and a half and they do need that thing halfway through a workout, then that salt water and the banana, or even you hear of people carrying, you know, some mashed potatoes or half a sweet potato in their backpack, and they're the perfect kind of things to be replacing. They're much better for your teeth.
Yeah, and like if you just like, I think of cyclists are always in quite a good place because they tend to be able to carry things on their bike, and they want to sort of a modality that tend to spend longer times out training. But I have a couple of our schoolboy players who were definitely having issues in terms of hydration, and we have substituted, and they were drinking Powerades and, did I just see the company name? A sports drink. And we substituted in coconut water, and it's had a really positive effect. Like, they were just getting quite bad muscular fatiguing and cramping and different things going on that were that did appear to be related to their hydration. And so we introduced that, particularly around game day, and have had really good results with those young men, which is cool.
Awesome.
And I also found myself, like, through pregnancy, at different stages, sometimes I feel like I can't even drink enough water, and that the coconut water has made a bit of a difference. It's got the sodium, it's got the potassium, but doesn't have the sugars, and there's lots of different research I've read. So, obviously read the sites with the companies, but also hopped into some medical articles, and looked at it, and particularly its use in third world countries, in terms of even intravenous hydration, fluid replacement. Like, it's got some pretty good properties. It's not quite as high in sodium as some of the sports drinks, but I guess you can counteract that by just adding a little bit extra of your own.
Yeah,
sure.
It's getting more popular now, coconut water as well. Like, I saw some in the supermarket the other day, just like, it was almost like they were trialing it out. It's becoming a very it's much more available than it was a year ago. Like, this is just something that's really popping up everywhere because it's known to be the huge benefits and the gain, and it's getting demanded by people. Sports people are starting to drink it, realizing it is a healthier option.
Yeah, and it's like everything. It's like vegetables and fruit and all of those things. It's not all created equal, and I'd be still trying to get your hands on sort of the organic coconut waters, and they're the same price, which is awesome, as the non-organic. So I think just it's nice to cover those bases, and just tick that box. If you can get the organic one over the other, the
other options. I guess now would be a good time to talk about, we've covered the good quality water and the different options of sports drinks, so it'd kind of be a good time to talk about what we're putting that water inside, and in terms of drink bottles. There's definitely, you may be drinking really good water, you put the sea salt in there, and then you're putting it into some old drink bottle that you bought a month ago, and you're reusing that drink bottle. It's starting to look a bit crinkly and the old stickers coming off. I'm talking about PBA here, so we're wanting to make sure that we're drinking PBA-free drink bottles.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so, I guess, like the water you buy in bottles that you're taking around and about, those bottles weren't designed to be multi-use bottles. They were designed to be one-off bottles. So it is important to go and buy your own bottle. So there's different options. You've got your BPA-free, like, plastic bottles, and that you can buy in a number of places, but I prefer to go for either glass. Glass isn't necessarily convenient for all people because they feel they're gonna smash it. Especially if you've got small people in your household. But there's also some really good stainless steel options on the market as well.
Yeah, and you can get the PBA free plastic drink bottles as well, which is the same as household containers, the PBA free ones.
Yeah. And then I guess it's cleaning them as well.
Yeah.
Especially the tops, but also the insides, and just making sure that your drink bottle is in good condition, because every now and again I have to accost my husband's drink bottle because I think it's
especially if you're putting lemon in them.
It's becoming its own science experiment.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just making sure that your hygiene around that bottle's good as well.
Yeah. Totally. Well, I think we've kind of covered hydration there.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess the keys are that whole 8 glasses a day is really just a beginning point. And as you said, the 0.33 mils, or 330 mils per, or no, but 0.33 times.
0.33 times your body weight in kgs.
Yeah.
So a 100 kg person would have 3.3 litres, a 50 kg would have half that.
Yeah. So do you make any allowances? That was the other thing we didn't touch on. If you are drinking, or tea or coffee in your day.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having coffee is something that dehydrates you, definitely. So coffee does not replace your glass of water.
Yeah.
Tea, no, I would be making sure you're drinking enough tea as well. But green tea, I think, can replace half. It's the caffeine that is present in the coffee and in the tea. There's a little bit of caffeine in your tea and caffeine dehydrates you. So for every glass of caffeine you're having, then you'd be wanting to replace that with some good quality clean water.
Awesome. Yeah, because I think some people forget that. I know some people who drink 18 cups of coffee. No, not cups of coffee. Tea. My mum and dad. Tea. I'll just have another cup of tea. They have about 50 cups of tea a day, but I'm not too sure. It's like to keep reminding them to get the water in its pure form on board as well, not just in a cup of tea.
I think that's awesome. Hey, so we've touched base there with hydration, so it is a very big, deep subject, and we could just go on for a whole lot longer. But make sure you get in touch, ask us questions. If you've got absolutely any questions at all, we'd love to hear from you. Just hop on the website, Facebook, Twitter, anything at all. We are absolutely here 100% to help you guys get in the best shape of your life. And so next Sunday, we'll be doing another live hangout. And so we'll be sussing out throughout the week what our topic is going to be. And so thank you so much, Miss. Once again, episode number 3, knocked out.
It's been awesome. Hopefully people can take away a couple of things that they can start putting in place, right away if they're not doing them already.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. We'll see you soon.
Bye now.
Bye.